How Tesla builds a new car every 30 seconds. Did you know that Tesla produces a new Tesla every 30 seconds at its Giga Shanghai facility? Today, we're going to talk about how they can produce new cars so quickly and why Tesla was able to go through production hell and near bankruptcy in 2017. We're going to focus just on Tesla's most popular vehicle, the Model Y, and specifically the model variation, and that they're building at the Gigafactory in Texas because it is the clearest example of how Tesla builds a vehicle in a way that no other company on Earth can match. The first stage of this process, which is going to be the manufacturing of various panels and structures of the vehicle that make up the model and the body to make it. Tesla is going to use a process called stamping. It's pretty simple. You have two halves of a mold that hold the shape of the parts you want to make. Then you can put a sheet of metal between those two halves. It will usually be aluminum and glue. Then the machine stamps the sheets of metal to give it the desired shape. There will be dozens of these stamping machines involved in the manufacture of all the components that make up the body structure. From there, we proceed to the paint shop, where the assembled body is primed and then sanded to a level surface, then goes through a whole series of spray, soak, and dry sessions, getting multiple coats of paint and gloss depending on the finish. White is the easiest, and that's why it's the cheapest. Red is the trickiest with multiple layers of color and metallic flecks, and that's why it's more expensive after the paint dries. Buffs and buffs. The body is turned off to have all the interior panels installed, components electronics wired up, and glass now installed simultaneously with all of that. Electric motors are then integrated into the Giga castings, one at the front and one at the rear, each connected via a gearbox to the four-wheel drive axles. The suspension is all tied in the casting, and the brakes and wheels are added to create one big rolling structure like a skateboard. Then on top of the battery, they'll put down the carpeting, put up the center console and interior trim, and then bolt all four seats directly to the top of the structure battery pack. Then the last big step will be to drop the finished body directly on the frame and powertrain assembly. The two are connected to each other by a series of bolts around the perimeter of the structural package, and the castings from there, the model and receives the final touches from a team of people who perform the final quality control again. In theory, this is where defects and issues are identified and fixed before the vehicle leaves to be delivered to the customer. This is how the process works at Giga Texas, and it's pretty similar at Giga Shanghai. So now you have an added context to how amazing it is that all of that can be done so efficiently that they can produce a new Tesla every 30 seconds in the Shanghai factory. It is safe to say that Tesla wouldn't be anywhere near where it is today as a company without its Gigafactory in Shanghai. This was the company's first attempt to build an electric vehicle factory from scratch within the first 7 years. Operating out of a converted former General Motors plant in Fremont, California, they had to set up tents just to make enough space to build the Model 3. The pace of development at the Shanghai Gigafactory is a true marvel. Tesla started in January 2019 and had delivered the first Chinese-made vehicles by December of the same year. It's quite a feat, and something the company hasn't been able to replicate with its two subsequent factories in Berlin and Austin, every taking around 2 years from build to delivery. And now in Q4 2022, we are seeing Giga Shanghai production hit 87,706 vehicles in the month of October, and if we extrapolate that to 12 months, we end up with around 1,500,000 vehicles per year. This far exceeds the factory's original stated manufacturing capacity, which was supposed to peak at 750,000 vehicles per year. This increase in production capacity is due to the complete production line upgrade that took place over this summer. Just as the factory was returning from several months of lockdowns and restrictions in the city of Shanghai, and the work has paid off, even with the full month of production shutdown followed by another month of limited closed-loop operation. Giga Shanghai has built 554,778 vehicles in the first 10 months of 2022. An increase of 59% year-over-year production at Giga Shanghai in September was so high that volume actually exceeded Tesla LA's usual strategy of using an end-of-quarter delivery boost to hit delivery numbers. Elon Musk said on a recent earnings call that there weren't enough ships, there weren't enough trains, there weren't enough cars to ride the wave. Whether we like it or not, we actually have to to smooth out delivering cars in a quarter because there simply aren't enough transportation objects to move them. Giga Shanghai has gotten so good at building Teslas that the company is sending employees from China to the Fremont, California factory to help ramp up production by going back to what we had said about the original Tesla vehicle. The factory was built in the 1960s to make vehicles for GM, which is how it operated for decades in the years since, going back and forth between General Motors and Toyota before finally closing for good, leaving open the possibility for Elon Musk to swoop in and buy the property on the cheap. This was long before he became the richest person in the world, long before Tesla ever made a single dollar of profit. It is also true that in order to achieve its goals with the Fremont plant, Tesla had to be creative. They set up massive tents or suspended structures to accommodate the Model 3, and then manufactured the model. And then when Tesla introduced the GigaPress casting machine to its production line, that wouldn't fit inside the original factory, and had to set up shop in the parking lot where it remains to this day. Even so, Tesla has managed to push its former factory's vehicle output far beyond what GM could. Toyota were actually able to produce in a year at a rate now over 650,000 units per year. Tesla Fremont is the most productive automaker in America. It's really good, but it could be better. Elon Musk is determined that there's room to grow productivity in Fremont. It's targeting around 750,000 vehicles per year at peak. So to help with that, Tesla has imported some production experts from China. According to a Bloomberg expert, Tesla will be sending staff, particularly automation and control engineers, to help efforts to ramp up production in Fremont, where Tesla produces the Model S, X, 3, and Model Y. Tesla's goal has always been to increase production by at least 50% year over year. They must exceed that goal, so it's likely that by this time next year, Tesla will have up to one car every 15 seconds, maybe more. Which begs the question, will there ever be a day when you can buy a Tesla whenever you want without having to sit on a waiting list for God knows how long in what year you think you could happen in North America? Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it.